Hello, everybody. What's up? Welcome back to more of Ace Attorney, Apollo's Justice Ace Attorney. So, oh, hi, Scruff. What's a VTuber without Scruff? Am I right? No, but seriously, what is a VTuber without a little bit of Scruff? So, in our natures. So, um, I don't really have any like big announcements or anything. Again, as always, it's always interesting to note, just like, just like up until this point, I was always just like, I got something to tell chat, but I was just like, now I don't anymore because we're doing the thing I was most anticipating for this year, which we did like on fucking launch day, which was fucking great. It was so awesome to just be like, I get to go home and I get to play Ace Attorney. That was so nice. I was working 10 hours that day, and for some reason that day, I just had this weird energy that would not let me be tired. I guess excitement trumps all. So anyways, last time we went to a concert and there was a murder. And now we have to solve the crime of the murder. And our client doesn't even speak English. Woo! Great. Like, that's great news to have when your client doesn't even speak English. Anyways, let's play. The game. 10 about Senate aid. July 9th, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 3. Oh, no. Is this defendant lobby today? Court is now in session 4. How do I say that? Machi Tamaya, Your Honor. The pixie of the El Pergico. Right, his trial. Court is in session. Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Prosecution, say okay, her judge. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. My opening statement, yeah? No, actually, there was something else I wanted to ask you about. Yes? Say you're going to visit someone in the hospital with an incurable disease. What do you say to them? I mean, you wouldn't say get well soon, right? You'd only be kicking them while they're down. What are you talking about? Actually, I was going to visit somebody who is terminally ill. Right after this trial, the Chief Justice's son. The Chief Justice. His son is afflicted with the most terrible disease. He doesn't have long. So I thought I'd go pay him a visit. So I thought saying something moving might be in order today. Why don't grown-ups just ever say what there's on their mind instead of pretending? He's looking at me with something like disgust. Hey, what are you looking at me like that for? In any case, I'm a bit busy today, so let's wrap this up quickly. Prosecutor Gavin, your opening statement, briefly. You're in luck, her judge. I believe you'll be going to the hospital. Your hospital visit sooner than you think. First, to review the victim in this case. Roman Letas, age 35. The global manager for Diva Sanchez Leamor. The cause of death, blood loss due to a shot by a large caliber revolver. This report has all the details. Court accepts this into evidence. Finally, we get an obstetric report. 45 caliber. That's quite large, isn't it? A direct hit from that could knock a man off his feet. However, this bullet struck him in the shoulder. The damage to the body was slight. Death was not instant. Sadly, his blood loss was much more than he could be saved. I suppose the victim's condition could have been much worse, considering. 2 shots were fired. One shot missed, the other penetrated and passed through the victim's shoulder. Both bullets were found in the wall at the scene. Observe the diagram. This is where the bullets hit. I see. The court accepts this as evidence. If we are talking about a 45 caliber revolver, we must assume that the killer was adepted at the weapon's use. Really? Yeah, apparently weapons that size have a powerful kickback. If, say, the judge tried to fire one, it'd break every bone in his body. The defense will take more care choosing examples. Come on, Apollo, make your foot of your honor. He's just a poor old man. Move it up. As I was saying, the victim was shot backstage in a dressing room. The dressing room has been one entrance, this door. That does seem to be the case, yes. However, there were witnesses who heard the gunshot. He's talking about you and Emma, huh? Yes, when the witnesses entered the room, it was empty, save for the victim's body, of course. But that's impossible! Well, Your Honor, we're talking about a locked room. Would it be a locked room situation? Like, what would this be classified as? Well, excuse me, I only play on stream, so I decided I'm already, not. So I don't play all the time, all stream. I only play when I stream it, which is only twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If I'm not too tired from work. Exactly. This murder was impossible. For all but one person. One person. That is, of course, the defendant, Machi Toboyai. I probably not trust that one. Only this defendant could have committed the crime. But how? It's quite simple. The circumstances of the crime scene make it clear. Very well. I assume that you have testimony to back up this claim. Please show the witness to the stand. Your name and profession, please. Emma Sky. I'm a detective for the police department. I was on security detail at night. The concert form that night. Emma seems tired somehow. Security at the concert, you say? Some security I was. Couldn't even stop a murder. And this is the part where she looks at us because we were too busy talking to her. Now, don't blame yourself. Things like this happen. I made even bigger mistakes in my career now. I'm sure that makes her feel so much better. Much better. I want to hear about these bigger mistakes. In any case, because you were on security detail, the crime was quickly discovered, and we were all able to identify the killer. You may give the court your testimony if you would. Describe the circumstances of that day, and your discovery of the crime, please. Alright. The night of the murder, I was on security backstage at Prosecutor Gavin's request. Only people involved with the concert in some way were allowed backstage. At the beginning of the third set, I heard shots. I went into the room filled with blaring music and found the body. I examined the scene and determined not only that the defendant could have done it. It was lucky that a detective was the first on the scene. Objection, Your Honor. The first person was also... There was two people. The other was a defense attorney. But that door was the only way out of the room, right? Yeah, pretty much. And I don't get it. How can they say that Machi did it? Looks like we need a bit more information. Here's the lecture. Very well. The defense may begin the cross-examination. Press. The night of the murder was the night of the concert, yes? That's right. What was the detective doing on security detail, might I ask? If it was only a concert. My thoughts exactly. But orders are orders, even when they come from rock gods. Prosecutor Gavin! Yes, allow me to explain. I smelled something that day, you might say. The stench of conspiracy. Well, I mean, when did it start? Was it when Was it the part when your motorcycle wouldn't start? The part, or where your was it when you had to bust open your guitar case? Because let's face it, Emma was probably already on security detail by the time his guitar was on fire. That day, at the concert hall. Conspiracy. Well, it isn't obvious. My keys! That whole morning. No, the whole day was ruined. And it was all because someone stole my keys. I couldn't ride my hog to the show. I couldn't open my guitar case. There he goes again. Please focus. Isn't it possible he simply misplaced them? Misplaced them? Misplaced items don't just water into a murder victim's own hands on their own. What's this? Prosecutor Gavin, if your keys were in the victim's hands, that makes you a prime suspect. Love, selecting anew. Quinn is waiting for you. He's singing something. Everything in the sky has to be so over the top. Admit it, Apollo, you love him. The killing happened in the middle of my concert. I was like a sailor, adrift on the sea of sounds. He does have a pretty airtight alibi. You know, it's very keen that, yes, he has a very keen alibi. Literally everybody in the audience could be like, yep, he was on stage at the time of the murder. Tracy could be like, yep, he was on stage. And then, you know, Emma and Polo can vouch for each other. So yeah, the only two people who wouldn't have alibis are Lemore and Machi. Anyways, I didn't want anything else stolen, so I put the detective with the most time on their hands on the task. I see. I can accept that. But I can't! What do you mean, time on their hands? Please, the testimony. The only person involved in the concert somewhere were allowed backstage. We were let in, though. I didn't know about that. I certainly didn't invite you. I gave the following special permission to be there. I wanted to see her again. Oh boy, did you hear that? We're officially involved now. Geez, great. Some other hanger-on tried to get backstage, but I drove them off. But no other outsiders were there then. And then, at the beginning of the third set, I heard shots. I believe we were having a chat when we heard the shots. You were the one chatting. I was eating snackaroos. Oh, please don't hit us again with another snackaroo. Ah, hey, no snacking in the court. And you're sure that the shots came from Lemore's room? Yes, absolutely. Hey, I'm the one being cross-examined here. Here, this will keep you quiet. Can I... She just absolutely snackaroos in the middle of the court. I love it. So then, are we ever gonna get a season 3 of the anime? Cause I want it just for that moment. So, munch about it, munch, Emma. We're right, munch, there. Munch, just to be mistaken about munch. Please, either talk or eat. No, not both at the same time. Right, so after that, me and Mr. Lawyer here opened the dressing room door. Rock? Blaring, yes. When you say rock, are you referring to, perhaps, to his rock and roll music that is so popular these days? That's right. When we went to the dressing room, music was blaring all over the speaker on the wall. They piped sound from... Oh, I was about to say, sorry about the boobas. But not sorry. Backstage to the speakers. That way people in the back room can hear when they're supposed to be on stage. But it has to be so loud. You don't listen to the Gaviners with your ears. You feel it with your entire body and soul! I always had backstage monitors at full volume. When we walked into into the room. The band was playing Guilty Love, making it easy to determine the time of crime. If you could hear that music playing, then everyone on stage for that song has an alibi, including myself. Anyways, I closed off the scene and started my investigation. How could you know something like that? As I said, it was clear from the circumstances. Listen, we know there was only one exit from that door. The small window only opened a tiny crack, and I was standing in front of that door. So how could the killer have fled the scene? There's only one possibility: the air vents. Ah. But that air vent was too small. Who could possibly? Exactly. There's certainly no way you could get through, nor me. The only one who could fit through was a child. A child. Remember, access to those rooms was limited. Only those involved with the concert were allowed, and all the people involved with the concert. Only one small enough to be considered a child. The defendant, the pixie of the Aperigo, flitted up towards the sky and disappeared from the scene of the crime. But there was not like a ladder, anything he could climb, right? But that's just a conjecture. Oh, there was more. There's no other way out of that room. You were there. You should know, her forehead. And there was another vital piece of evidence. Evidence? What? Marks are found on the air vent grill, traces that had recently been opened. Wait, what? And something else was found, quite clearly. The defendant, Machi Tsubayas' fingerprints. What? What?! Order! That air vent was the only way out of the room. The defendant's fingerprints are found on the grill. Well, her forehead? What fairy tale does this suggest to you? Herk. Only one could pass through that vent, to that doorway to heaven. That one is our pixie. Why are you looking at me, Apollo? Hey, I was out whooping it out in the audience. So this was his decisive evidence. Quite decisive indeed. I believe that's enough of that. The prosecution has a rather convincing case. The only way out of the crime scene was watched, making the defendant the only one who could possibly leave the scene. Simple and decisive. Ugh. I believe we have heard enough to determine our verdict. Even if I wasn't in a hurry to make it to the hospital visit, I'm sure the Chief Justice will appreciate the gesture. Unfortunately, we have no direct witnesses. Unfortunately, the criminal left us the decisive evidence for us. That will have to be enough. Ugh, it can't be over already. Very well. I believe this trial is finished. If the defense has no contradicting evidence, the prosecution has presented our proof, clear and plain. If you have the contradicting evidence, it better be clear and plain. Apollo, they got us on the ropes already. We better come up with something quick. I know. Think what can get us out of this. We need evidence, or a witness, that can prove Omachi is innocent beyond a doubt. Without that... Ugh. What? Let me look at the court records. get a pin fastener for attaching things to clothes. Not a safety pin type, though. So it's not a safety pin? Is it a danger pin? I suppose if you stuck it in your eye, then yeah, sure. But you could do that with a safety pin, too, for that matter. Thanks for taking the fun out of my danger pin. Aw, you're driving a danger pin through my heart here. Yikes! Don't point that thing at me! Don't worry. I'm an old hand with firearms. I have one of those I have one that shoots bullets. I don't want it shooting any bullets. Thank you. Not those bullets, silly. My gunshots, bullets, the magic cat. A cat comes out of a gun? I can tell by your expression that you've never heard of that trick. It's a great one. Honestly, that one sounds halfway interesting. The middle of the weapon is a revolving chamber. That's where you load the bullets. A revolver, see? A revolver. That sounds a bit like Wonder Bar. Especially if you say it really fast. I guess. You know what I always used to think? I used to think that the closest sound to Wonder Bar was one liver. There are just so many words in the world of polo. Isn't it amazing? So many different words, so many different people. People like Tracy. Okay, I think that's all we're gonna get out of the gun. Ah! It's obviously not the keys. Because this is definitely Gavin's keys. No clues here. These are 3 keys on this heart-shaped key ring. And this guitar-shaped key was a key to a guitar case. Wasn't he saying that he had to break his case because he couldn't get it unlocked? I could have unlocked that in a lock like that in 10 seconds easy. He should have given me a call, so he could have slapped handcuffs on you after you opened it. Handcuffs, 20 seconds tops. I'm glad she's on my side. You know what? I'll think of it in the moment. Mr. Justice, do you have a contradiction proof that can overturn the prosecution's case? If you do, you better tell us about it now. This is it. And so soon. If I mess this one up, it's all over. The court wants contradictory proof. Do we call it more? Part of me wants to be like, I should show the brooch. The defense is prepared to show contradiction evidence. This should be interesting. What sort of evidence? Yes, what sort of evidence, Mr. Justice? Show us evidence contradicts the prosecution's claim. A risky shot. This evidence does more than contradict. It flips the whole case on its head. Thank you for presenting evidence that is both clear and plain, as requested. Yes, clear and plainly wrong. I'm afraid the only thing flipped on this head here was your was you as a child, Mr. Justice. Ouch, Your Honor! Wow! Is that for making you an example? If was that for you making you an example with the revolver? Ugh, I guess that wasn't it. My claim is clear. The only person who could have fled the scene was the defendant, and there was no witnesses either. I fear the defense's opinions are limited, Mr. Justice. Grr, there's only one way out of this. Evidence or a witness. That can prove Machi's innocence beyond a doubt. Let's ask the defense once again. Do you have a contradictory proof that can overturn the prosecution's case? If you do, you better tell us about it now. The court wants a contradictory proof. I think I was on the right ballpark of, like, getting more into this. Prosecutor Gavin, you claim that there was no witnesses to this crime. But Machi hardly ever leaves Leamore's side. Are you absolutely sure? Absolutely. I swear it on my career as a prosecutor. And my million-seller hit Eloquise, my love. There he goes again. That's too bad, because there was a witness. Oh, really now? I call myself down to the stand! But how did you come to possess the knowledge of the prosecution? It clearly does not. Because I'm the only one in the world who knows this. What's going on? I just talked to him and now... He's alive? Mr. Lachasse, can you hear me? You're cold. Don't worry. You're going to be fine. Help is on the way. Let's see. Hang in there, Mr. Lachasse. Tell me, who was the witness? The witness. The siren. What? The victim says this before he died? Perhaps he did, and perhaps he did not. What do you mean by that? All we know is that her forehead. All we know is what for her forehead he says he said. Not with testimony, especially since it comes from the defense attorney himself. But it's the truth. He said it. I even told you about it. But apparently you ignored me completely. It's my policy to fully investigate everything I deem relevant. Apparently that day, you were more preoccupied with somebody missing a goddamn cue! Clearly, this little rookie lawyer thinks he can tell me how to do my job. That's enough. Mr. Justice, we need a clear contradictory proof from you. This witness of yours, unknowing to the prosecution. I hope you're in the right. Failure carries a stiff penalty. Perhaps a stiffer penalty than usual is called for. Herc! There's no backing out now. Let's hear the name of your witness, Mr. Justice. Leamore! I have evidence that proves that she should be the Leamore. Recall Mr. Lachasse's last words. The witness. Okay. The siren. Aha! You meant the siren. That's right. The siren of the ballad. Leamore. Leamore was the only on stage for the second set. And she had access to the backstage area. She could have been a witness. I see. Well, Prosecutor Gavin, my claim still stands. There is no witness to this crime. Very well. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth then, shall we? We will now take a break from Detective Emma Sky's cross-examination. Please show Leamore to the witness stand. Leamore would say nothing of the murder. Not today, though. Today, we'll drag that story out of her, no matter what it is. I don't believe she's the murderer. It is my distinct honor to welcome the siren of the ballad to our courtroom. You are too kind. You can speak English? Yes, I can. Though I'm not very good. There is much I do not know. You speak so well. Have you spent time here before? Actually, I do. I don't know about how I came by my knowledge of your language, nor where I studied it. What does she mean? She doesn't know. I too sought to call her as a witness, but I did not. I had a reason, of course. What's that? Leamore suffers from amnesia. Amnesia? Leamore is not my true name. Yet I remember nothing of the time before I was given it. Nothing of the time before I started singing on stage. Whoa, she's even more mysterious than I thought. As louder singer Limor, she lives a good life. There's little difficulties for her, thanks to her success. Yet, I did not wish to object her to unnecessary stress. I see. I care surprisingly little about people's past. You have nothing to fear in this court, Leonore. Thank you. Yet there is something I do not understand. I am being called as a witness? What might I say? No one will tell me anything of what's happened. Leonore, let me be frank. I did not want to ask you here to testify. Yet, that young gentleman with the wide forehead over there was admitted that you stand. Okay, I get it. Apollo has a big forehead. Oh my. Congratulations, Apollo. You're the bad guy. Great. Well, now that you're here, please give us your testimony. If nothing else, the sound of your voice is welcome. Tell us what you saw the night of the crime. As for what I saw nothing. That night, I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did. I did not return backstage after the second set. Then I was led by the police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there. That is where I learned that something had happened, but I was not told the details. I must say, you sound wonderful just testifying. I hope he was too distracted to hear what she's actually saying. There you have it. She saw nothing that night. Now can we only pray that the defense has the sense to admit defeat and refrain from detaining her being here longer than need be. Wow, you just got better, Apollo. Way to go! Very well, Mr. Justice. Keep it. It's short and sweet. Namor wouldn't talk to me the night of the crime. She must know something, and I gotta find out what. I just gotta. But you must have seen something. Mr. Latress named you. Mr. Latress? How can I tell you what I don't know? Namor, he said that you were a witness to his dying words. Mrs. dying words. I do not know what he meant to say, but that night. It was a great concert. You heard me sing. Thank you. I was hoping to get an autograph later, actually. Of course. Mr. Justice, this is a cross-examination. You're out of line. If anyone deserves an autograph here, it's me. And one of my gavel would be nice. You're a judge. Are they gonna argue over who fucking gets an autograph? What's this? Gavin, it's my autograph. Now keep the trial moving. But what? Oh, my grandchild will be so happy. Apparently his grandson is a big fan. Let's continue, shall we? If you wouldn't mind, Limor. Tell us what you did after your stellar performance. I did not return backstage after the second set. Hold on. I was cleaning up on stage. There was many things I must do for a performance other than simply sing. And was Machi with you at the time? Unfortunately, I do not know where he was. So much for an alibi for Machi. Then I was led by the police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there. With Machi, correct? How was he then? He seemed as he always said, though I believe he was shocked by the news of Mr. Latress's death. Yet, he is not the type to show much emotion. Yes, he's giving the police no end of headaches. Probably because he doesn't speak English! He answers most questions with silence, and those glinting frames speaking nothing. Are you guys maybe thinking that he isn't answering your questions because he can't speak English? The questioning hasn't gotten very far. Probably because you're trying to question a child who doesn't speak English. He sat there waiting. That's where I learned of something that happened. I wasn't told the details. How was the incident explained to you? I was told nothing in detail, only that Mr. Latrace has died. Of course, investigations require some security. But Mr. Latrace was my manager. I wanted to know more. I should have been told. But both Machi and I ourselves was concerned. Allow me to apologize, but please understand. Keeping you in the dark was as painful for me as it was for you. Yes, I understand. Think doesn't ring about truth. Think, what doesn't ring true about her testimony? I know exactly what it is. I tried to present it earlier. It's hard to imagine Limor lying. She might not be lying, but she's hiding something. But wouldn't you tell me the night of the murder? Nail it. I'm sorry, Limor, but I have trouble believing you. You remember this brooch, do you not? Why, that's Limor's. She was wearing it for her song. Care to add that to the testimony, Prosecutor Gavin? But what? This brooch was found after the murder took place, at the very scene of the crime. What? Limor, how did your brooch get backstage if you did not go there yourself? And as Prosecutor Gavin has just told us, you had been wearing it during your performance that night. What is the meaning of this? Limor, please explain. Limor? Oh, she's back to the wingding. She says English is quite difficult. I don't think that's what she said. That trick's not gonna work here. She's back to the wingding. Fuck! I didn't get translation from that last time. I was planning on translating what Mochi says at the end of the investigations, but I totally forgot to. And I also deleted that the translator app on my phone because it wasn't really working. So I was. But let's just say she says, "I know nothing. You cannot accuse me of this. Your forehead may be large, but you are a lawyer, truly." Okay, that one probably isn't right. But you have missed one important fact. What now? My brooch was stolen and then stashed in the room. Or something like, Machi must have taken my brooch at some point. In fact, at the time of the incident, I went backstage, but only for a moment. But what? Okay, I was wrong. Think back to the moment of the crime. You know wherefore I speak. Is she really saying all that? What is she talking about, Apollo? Right, when the incident occurred. Ha! She's talking about that. Is she talking about that? Watch this room for me. I have to call for backup. Right, understood. You want me to make sure no one comes in, right? Mr. Latrace, can you hear me? Cold. So cold. Witness. You're cold? Don't worry, you're going to be fine. Help is on the way. Witness. Siren. How can a siren witness anything? Yipes! Emma! What was that? Who's there? What's wrong? Emma, did you see anyone just now? Huh? No. I could have sworn I heard a door close. I looked into the room. Just a glance, mind you. So this is when your brooch dropped. That explains that. It does. There was no other time I could have dropped it. But that's ridiculous. You only looked inside for an instant, but you dropped your brooch? Her forehead. She has erased the possibility. The only thing that could counter that is evidence. So she looked at the crime scene. Actually, I intended to go into the dressing room. I knew nothing of what had happened, of course. But the moment I opened the door, I heard a horrible voice. Her forehead shouting, "Who's there?" No doubt. A horrible voice indeed. God damn it! Ugh. I closed the door immediately. Well, that explains the brooch. Let's return to your testimony. That's too convenient. She's hiding something. Leonore, you did look into the room, though, right? Yes. Testify to what you saw. Very well, though it was only the briefest of glimpses. Why is our bracelet? Well, we'll press first, and then we'll try to perceive. What did you see in that brief glimpse? I only opened the door slightly when I heard that horrible voice, and shut the door. I've always wondered, her forehead. Does that voice of yours lack a volume knob? It's my course of steel, man. Just back off! A wall? Was there a wall there? What is it in English? A diversion. A partition, I believe. It was a large dressing room divided into halves. And the murder took place in the inside half. I guess that partition might have hidden the body. And I was led by the police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there. There's gotta be. Let's perceive something here. Like, really only her face moves, though. I didn't see anything there. I'm sure it's gotta be somewhere here. I have a feeling for her, probably like a nose twitch or something. Ah! I didn't mean to perceive there. I didn't mean to press. I wonder what would happen if you perceive when you're absolutely wrong. I know, let's see.
Gotcha!
You may have seen the world, but I've seen your heart. You were flustered during your testimony just now. I do not understand what it is you are saying. Perhaps this is a joke in your culture. She doesn't seem very flustered to me, Apollo. Maybe I got I got that one wrong. I have to look harder. I'll have to find that weak spot. I gotta. She probably is. Or is it? Let's see if that's right, though.
Gotcha!
Got it. I thought it would be like her nose or something. The late Mr. Littlechest's body, you say? Yes. You know something more. You know something more about Mr. Littlechest's death than you're saying. What? I could see you're trying not to remember, but the effort made you swallow. You can't fool my eyes. It's true. I was so terrible. It was so terrible after all. Why did Miss Littlechest have to be shot? One moment, Leamore. Yes? What was that you just said? Why did Miss Littlechest have to be shot? Yes. He was hiding something. I knew it. Leamore, I'm afraid you haven't realized it, but your words just now contradict your testimony. How could that be? Take this. Leamore contradicts her own testimony, and I have the evidence to prove it. To ensure the efficiency and security of our investigation, the bearer of this is hereby ordered to speak to no one outside the investigation concerning the details to case to anyone. Do I present my investigation request? Tell me, Leamore, how did you know that he has been shot? Huh? Well, immediately following the incident, a gag order was placed on the scene. This is the document proving that. In your testimony, you told the court, no one told me anything about the incident. Furthermore, you testified that you had seen nothing. Yet, you knew that Mr. Littlechest had been shot. How could you have known? No. Leamore, you aren't hiding something from this court, or hope. That sweet song of hers sounded a little too sweet. Now I remember. Please, allow me to ask. Your goat screams don't work on me this time. Allow me to add to my testimony. Of course. We want to know. All we want to know is the truth. She looks kind of pale, huh? She saw something. I know it. Add that to your testimony. What, the goat screams? That's my testimony. Even the witness said so. I saw bullet holes in the wall and knew Mr. Littlechest had been shot. Only a glimpse, yet you knew there were bullet holes. Yes, I recognized them immediately. I had seen bullet holes before, you know. You have traveled the world as a singer. You must have sung in places far more dangerous than our country. I go everywhere my voice is needed. Those places are many these days. That's really cool. I hope I get to travel like Lemore someday. I plan on recording my next album overseas. Their studios have a different sound, you know. Maybe I should go and record the Steel Tour. Record the Steel Tour too. No, Polo. Record the Steel. Stay in the courtroom, okay? So we're not perceiving anything. Wait. The door, she couldn't, if she just looked into the door, she could have seen, obviously. Objection! Lamore, they call you the siren of the ballad, but lies are hardly becoming of such a creature. A put down worthy of our prosecutor, Mr. Justice. Such put downs are hardly becoming of you, Mr. Apollo. Stop polishing your forehead and stop polishing your characters, yeah? Come on, can't I be cool for once? No, Apollo, you got the big brother energy. You can't be cool. Observe the diagram. Lamore, you looked from the door for just a moment, correct? Yes, that is so. There were bullet holes in the room, yes. But they were in the wall the door is on. Huh? You see, assuming you merely glanced into the room, you couldn't have seen those bullet holes. You! Lamore. Yes? I'm afraid the defense has raised a good point. It appears that you have been holding back something. And I must tell you what it is that I saw. Yes, the happenings of this trial are being recorded, and I am certain it will be on the news in Florendia. You understand your reputation is at stake. It falls to you to avoid the tarnishment. Personally speaking, I still believe that cross-examining her will yield us absolutely nothing. But she knew how Mr. Lachaise died, and he named her as a witness. You must have seen something, Lamore. Very well. Like I said, I do not believe that she is the murderer. But if it wasn't Machi, then who else could it have been, given the circumstances? The Miss Q. Darren! Is that why he missed the Q? Because of murder? He probably didn't murder anyone, though. Lamore, please continue your testimony. Very well, I shall. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window. That's how I saw it. There was 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But it wasn't Machi. It was a grown person. I know it was. So you did witness the crime. And the killer was a grown person, you say? This is my first time hearing this, I assure you. Nice play for her forehead. Very well, Mr. Justice. The judge was about to call us for her forehead. I love it. Great going, Apollo. You're right about Lamore. What's wrong? You don't look too happy. This whole thing smells fishy. That's what's wrong. Are we gonna have to perceive again? Okay, look. Okay, good. The perceive. So you were heading towards the dressing room. Yes. So this is just a little bit before she opened the dressing room door and dropped her brooch. About the same time Emma and I heard the shot. I was on my way back. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. What exactly is something like a little window? Yes, well, window is the best word I know in English. I think it is how it is said, yes? You need not to worry, Leomore. Your choice of words is impeccable. There is a small window in the dressing room in question. Perhaps the defense remembers this detail. That little window on the wall. I saw the crime from there. There's 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. You were certain you heard 2 shots fired? Yes, quite certain. I was on my way back to the backstage exit. This is when I heard a faint sound, like a gunshot. Wondering what has happened, I peered through the window. That is when I heard the second gunshot, much closer. And there were 2 bullet holes in the scene. No contradiction so far. That all happened on the other side of the window. There was nothing I could do. But it wasn't Machi. It wasn't Machi who shot. Are you sure? Yes, quite certain. It amuses me that you would question her testimony. It is testimony in your favor. Isn't it my job to object? Yeah, Apollo, what were you thinking? Jersey, let's just listen to what Lenore has to say. Can you tell me how you were so sure? Yes, of course. You see, it was a grown person. I know it was. Not so sure it's all that simple, Jersey. There is a critical flaw in this testimony, and I have to point it out, even if it isn't good for our case. A grown person. That's a little vague. I'm sorry. I suppose your language is lacking. I know. Certainly, you could say at least whether the shooter was a male or female. It was a man. A young man. And you're sure of that? Yes, his voice was quite clear. Voice? Looking at this diagram, it seems the dressing room was quite cluttered. It does seem likely that you wouldn't have a clearer view of the shooter. As a singer, I rely more on my ears than my eyes. When I hear a voice, I do not forget it. That voice was the voice of a man. So you heard the voice, but wait. Couldn't that have been the victim, Mr. Latrouse? Absolutely not. Did I not just say that I do not forget a voice? If it was Mr. Latrouse who spoke, I would have known. Indeed. So you were at the window, and you heard the shooter's voice. And the voice of a young man. Apollo, this is a good testimony. That proves that it wasn't Machi. Indeed. If this turns out to be true, it would cast this case into a considerably different light. What is the defense's opinion on this testimony? There is a flaw in there, but I don't see it myself. Apollo. Though it pains me to say this, there is something about Lemore's testimony that rings false. Bravo for her forehead. You're colder than I thought. I'm sure you remember what the problem is as well as I do, Gavin. As has been established, no grown man could have passed through the air vent. He couldn't have fled the scene of the crime. But that means Lemore has to be lying. I know, and I know it's bad for our case, but I can't shut my eyes to this. Believe me, the idea was tempting. It is as her forehead says. Yet, this is not the only contradiction within her testimony. But what's next? What is he talking about? Lamar, I understand why you would want to protect Machi. Yet remember, you are the siren of the ballad. And lies do not become such a creature. Hey, I said that earlier! What does the prosecution mean? Apollo, what's he talking about? How can no one bat an eye when he says stuff like that? Apollo tries to sound cool. What's the meaning of this? The prosecution says the exact same line. Wow, it's great. State of the room? Yes, when the murder took place, the window was closed. I find it hard to believe that you could hear a voice through it. What? But I'm sure. Lamar, I have nothing but the highest regards for your musical sense. But my opinion as you as the witness are somewhat lesser. But she's the only eyewitness that we have. So you say. And the victim named her, the siren, as the witness. That's right. That's what Mr. Latress, we heard your claim. We even entertained the possibility, and it brought us to this. Her judge, yes. The prosecution requests that the witness be excused. Please. I'm afraid I must honor the prosecution's request. There is indeed a question of the witness's credibility. But if Moore can't testify, then we don't have a chance of proving Machi's innocence. This cross-examination is over. Prosecutor Gavin, you may continue making your case. Danke. Now, where were we? Ah, yes. I would like to hear from the following detective again. Wait! Let me hear Lamore's testimony one last time. But the cross-examination is already over. Until such a time as needed arises, this witness may leave the stand. I'm sorry, I cannot be of more of assistance. At last, back to the real trial. Ready her forehead? I hope I didn't just miss my only chance. Fellow and detective, how far have we gotten until we're so rudely interrupted? Don't ask me! I dislike saying the same thing twice, and I never repeat a song for an encore. If you would, Miss Guy. I believe I was saying that the only way Mr. Latress's killer could have escaped was through that air vent on the ceiling. Ah, yes, there was only one door in that room, and a witness you was standing in front of it. That air vent isn't very big, see? It kind of limits the people who could possibly get through. I certainly would have had a difficult time. You sure would. Not that you would have been in there in the first place, though. Remember, the whole backstage area was off limits to people not involved with the concert. The only one who meets the conditions for our killer is the defendant. A versatile performance. I couldn't put it better myself. She does state a clear case. Though, reading the report, something caught my eye. Oh, what's that? The circumstances of the defendant's arrest. Circumstances? Again? Hey, that's right, Apollo. Remember when we found Machi? That was bizarre. She's right. Why did Mr. Latress's body disappear from the room? And end up on the top of the stage tower, holding a guitar, no less. A perception observation, her judge. Thanks. It was kind of an accident, really, but you work in this job long enough. You get a nose for things. The judge sure seems pleased with himself. Very good, following detective. Perhaps you could tie it all together for us. Why was the body moved? And how does that lead us to the killer? I believe Machi stole the body because of some lyrics. He moved the body to match the Lemur sword. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim. Sugar, sugar, oh that night, in your embrace, when you stole away the keys to my heart, pleasure, pleasure, but a fleeting melody, it wraps itself around me, and now through the air I fly. Whoa, whoa, burning it in my heart, fire, burn away my love, all away like a bullet of love, fire away, take my life away, all away, guitar, whip up together to the sky. And Machi practically left his signature at the scene. All of this evidence clearly points to the defendant. Moore's song? Yes, the guitar is incinerated. You noticed it's code too, did you not? It's code. All the events that day follow the lyrics to our song. First, the key to my heart held on were so tightly stolen. Then prosecutor's guitar burst into flame on stage. Mr. Latress's life was taken by a bullet. The rest hardly needs explanation. Guitar, guitar, up together to the sky. That's mad. That's like a story out of some fairy tale. The guy who wrote it's right over there. I admit, I have forgotten about the song. But there it is now, waiting for me, the grand finale, as it were. Hey, you know when I was the one, I was the first to notice that. I heard jumping ropes to song and counting to songs. But killing, it's a wild world out there, her judge. Very well, we have heard one song and dance. Let's get it on to the next, the cross-examination. I'm not so sure I'm going to do so much singing. Yeah, you follow? Stick to the chords of steel. Yeah. Who would steal a body just to match some lyrics? I didn't believe it myself, but it can't just be a coincidence. It's as the fellow detective said. Let us begin with the first verse, if you would, fellow detective. What? You want me to sing it? You are the witness, yeah? Or do you want me to sing? I warn you, my feats as a vocalist are not trivial. Fine. Let's look at the first little part of the lyric, shall we? When you stole away on the keys of my heart, stole away the keys of my heart, held on so tight. Indeed, my favorite heart-shaped key ring was stolen that morning. Next, we go to the right page of the lyric sheet, where we find, burning in my heart, fire, burn my love away, all away. As we know, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flames. Like a bullet of love, fire, take my life away, all away. Mr. Lestraus's life was taken by a bullet. Bravo, fellow detective, you're singing. It's not bad. Don't get me wrong, guys. I still will make a cover of this. I will make a cover of this song. Trust me, I will. Just have patience, okay? Now, for the finale. Guitar, guitar, up together to the sky. As it says in the lyrics, Mr. Lestraus was found with a guitar high in the sky over the stage. No series of coincidence could be well so conceived. He's right, scientifically speaking. What would a walkie said? That concert was whack. Oh my gosh, we have to bring up walkie again? My gosh, Apollo. It's hard to argue when she pours her heart into that, like that. Anyways, the shooter. I forgot we were cross-examining. Does the prosecution have any idea why he would do all of this? You want my scientific opinion? No clue. But he clearly had a reason to go through all that trouble. Some deep reason. A deep reason. Not only did he steal my keys, he torched my guitar. Unforgivable acts, even if he had a reason. And worse if he had none! The diva complaints aside, I can't imagine someone doing this just on a whim. Following detective, I take offense at that description. Indeed, it does seem well to rehearse, shall we say. Yes, this crime was planned for sure. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim. But Mr. Lestraus spoke English. He may have come to this country before. I looked into that, I assure you. Oh, it was his first time in the country, it seems. Apparently, he learned English on his own. Great. You see, no one here had a motive to kill him. Certainly none in such elaborate fashion. It does seem difficult to imagine. Unless our famous prosecutor did it as a publicity stunt. But what did you say? Prosecutor Gavin, you did this to promote your song? Of course not, and I'm quite dismayed by the ludicrous nature of her claim. Why would I need to promotion? Everyone already listens to my music. They're even in my textbooks at school. And I never heard of them. And I never heard of them? What does this say about me? Getting old, Apollo. Reminder, Apollo's only 22. I was just kidding. Don't get all worked up, Glimmer Boy. And Machi practically left his signature at the scene. What do you mean by his signature? The bullet holes in the wall, of course. The bullet holes. The revolver was fired twice. One shot missed and left a hole in the wall. And that means what exactly? The dressing room isn't exactly spacious. Picture the shooter facing off with the victim here. They can't have been more than 5 feet apart. It would have been difficult, almost impossible to miss at that range. I would like to bisect it for him. I have witness testimony that I can miss even from like right in front of me. I have testimony. I have witness testimony. Don't know if they're still here and they could testify about that. Difficult to miss, you say? Very. Assuming the shooter could properly aim. No, you can't be serious! Machi, he can't see. That's why he missed. It's the only explanation that makes sense. Because he used sounds and other senses to fire the gun. Poorly. That reminds me. The monitor in that room was blaring at that time, Jack. Hardly ideal conditions for tracking by sound. A blind shooter. No wonder he missed. I knew those bullet holes would come back to haunt me. Think, Justice, what do I do? When in doubt, raise an objection! Surely there was bullet holes left in the wall. But that doesn't prove that the shooter couldn't see. Oh, how so? Again, I assure you that that people can miss a shot even when when somebody's standing right in front of them. I have fallen victim to not hitting a target right in front of me. And I have witness testimony. Well, there could have been a struggle with the victim. That certainly is possible. And it might have been the revolver's fault. The revolver was a very large caliber, correct? If the shooter wasn't used to firing such a large weapon, why could it dislocate their shoulder? Exactly. The defendant, Machi Tabaya, is, as you can see, tiny. It's not so hard to picture him firing a gun and missing entirely. The knockback alone would have thrown off his arm. A convincing argument, to be sure. Ha! Take that, smug prosecution! Apollo? Huh? What? That bit about Machi being tiny, and the gun throwing off his aim. Aren't you kind of, admitting that he did it? Oh. It does not matter why he missed. What matters is that the shooter was, without a doubt, the defendant. Even the defense seems to agree on that point. Ah! Oh. Christ, I really put my foot into this time. But let's get to the facts of the matters on the record. If you would, Fraulein Detective. Very well, the witness will add this to her testimony. Right. From the sounds of the crime, I conclude the shooter was blind. You can't say he was blind just because of those bullets in the wall. I think I've proven that. I wouldn't call it proof per se. Huh? You merely raised the possibility. Fraulein Detective has made a most logical conjecture based upon the evidence. Of course, there is more evidence than just bullet holes. The defendant was the only one who could have escaped through the air vent. But wait, if he was blind, how would he know about the air vent in the first place? Ah, very good point. Well, Fraulein Detective, if you care to explain, he certainly seems sure of himself. Recall the crime scene, if you would. There was a stepladder below the air vent. As it happens, the maintenance was scheduled that day. The Crystal staff went around checking all the air vents. I don't believe it. Everyone backstage was told about the maintenance, including Machi Tabaya. He would have known that there was been a way out at the top of the step ladder. But that's... Why is this the first I'm hearing about this? You could have figured it out yourself. You only needed to consider what the step ladder was doing there. I'm sorry, I was too busy. Looks like the defense's objection has been squashed by a step ladder. Step ladders have come back and haunted us. Yes! Who would ever thought the day the defense was bested by a ladder? Well, for her forehead, out of any mission, perhaps. I've never seen Prosecutor Gavin so aggressive. Maybe he's caught on the scent of blood. Apollo, don't you have something? Anything? You know what we need? We need something to prove the killer could see. That'll put him in his place. God damn it. Proving the shooter was decided would do it, but that would take down one of their central points. Do I have any evidence I can prove that though? Do I? I don't think we have evidence. I can't think of anything that proves the shooter could see. Your face does not exactly project confidence. Maybe you should just accept it and move on. Apollo, grow a backbone! Very well. The witness may continue her testimony. I couldn't even get a word in edgewise. What? This doesn't look so good, Apollo. No, it doesn't. What do? First, we don't panic. Even though Machi's case is leaking waters by the gallon, Gavin's on a roll, and it's up to me to stop him. Okay, maybe maybe we do have evidence that could prove that Machi is... Fine, I accept the prosecution's challenge, as I knew you would for her forehead. What exactly am I up against here? The prosecution is saying that the shooter missed because they couldn't see. Therefore, Machi, who is blind, did it. The defense will please present their evidence. Evidence that overturns the prosecution's claim that the shooter couldn't see. Let's present the diagram! Music stopped. I'm not sure how that overturns anything, Mr. Justice. Ugh, wrong evidence, I'm guessing. Apparently both love and justice are blind. I have to think. There must be something. Anything. This doesn't look so good, does it, Apollo? No, it doesn't. What do we do first? We don't claim. Let's rethink this. Wait. Why would the blood be smudged if the killer couldn't see? Ho ho ho! Oh! So we couldn't read the wardrobe in Russian. Wow! I was gonna joke that smudge blood is just gonna say it says the wardrobe in Russian. Yes, yes, I am. This is the ad evidence. The photograph of the crime scene. I don't care much for the smirk on the prosecutor Gavin's face, but this is no time to think twice. Time to press on! Yes, Your Honor, the crime scene. There's something in here that decisively contradicts the prosecution's point. Then perhaps you best show us this something. Get your finger out and put the breeze out of the breeze and put it up to good use, ja. Very well. Show us what you're talking about, Mr. Justice. The contradiction of the crime scene is the goddamn blood smear. The contradiction's right here. The smear bloodstains? I thought it was just my blurry vision, but it really was blurry. By the way the victim's hand is raised above his head, much like a gesture I've seen many times in this court. It's almost as if she wrote something. Aha! I get it! At least I think I get it. Get what, Fraulein? When Mr. Latrace was shot, he was trying to write something. And what he was writing... But what would he write but the shooter's name? And what would he write in his own... And what would he write in? His own blood. Pretty good, huh? Thanks for making my point for me. Yes, in fact, that's what I think happened here. That does seem to be a distinct possibility. The victim wrote the killer's name. It's certainly a logical conclusion. Drat! I just wish it wasn't all rubbed out like that. Of course it's rubbed out. Why? If I were a killer, I certainly wouldn't want to leave my own name behind. Neither would I. No one has anything else to say? About what? So the prosecution accepts this. You agree that it was the victim making an attempt to record the name of the killer, and that the killer tried to rub the name out? What's your point? What's my point? The fact that if somebody couldn't see, how would they know that there was a death message? Gosh, it's like I have to make all the points here. Let me ask you this. How did the killer know the victim was writing their name? Well, Mr. Latrace was writing something in blood. Once the killer saw that, it was... Wait. Once he saw it, it was... But what did you just testify about the shooter? I said they were blind. Ah! Nailed it. Yet the crime scene itself contradicts that. The killer had been able to see. Why would they rub out the name in blood otherwise? May I remind the court that the defendant, Machi Tabaya, is blind. He couldn't have been the shooter. Impossible! Order! Prosecutor Gavin, please explain to me what all this means. I mean, looking at this photo, it seems quite clear that the shooter could see. Yeah, up until now. It seems I owe the court an apology. The Gaviners are a band with the law enforcement ties, yet a murder occurred during our concert. Apparently, this caused some confusion over jurisdiction. As a result, some reports were not filed in an entirely timely manner. I'm not sure I like this vibe I'm getting here. Hey, Apollo, look at him. Why is Prosecutor Gavin all relaxed and smiling like that? He knows something we don't, and he's about to tell us. I got an idea. Let's rock! Sorry, the song goes so hard! Also still listening to it every day at the beginning of work. With these documents. But before that, I have a question for the Fraulein detective, if I may. What? Tell me. Why do you think that Machi Tobias is blind? Huh? But what did he say? What are you saying? Of course he's blind. Of course. He's the blind pianist, right? So, so he's... Doesn't Lamore lead him around by hand all the time? No way. That was part of their act. Part of their mysteriousness. Machi Tobias isn't blind. I have a report here on the defendant, Machi Tobias. According to this, Machi Tobias can see perfectly well. What? His blindness was merely a publicity ploy by those clever bulleting. He can see quite well. But you said... What did I say exactly? Her forehead. Not once in this court of trial have I claimed the defendant was blind. The only one who did was the following detective. But that's a significant fact, yes. Consider Machi's bias sees. And he's the only one who could have fled through the air vent. I see no problem with this. But what about the bullet holes in the wall? Yes, the bullet holes. I believe her forehead neatly explained those for us. He didn't miss because he couldn't see. It was the kickback from the 45 caliber revolver. A simple accident, in other words. Ack! How's that? I'm afraid your objection just has flown off for brighter skies. Irk. This is where the real fun begins for her head. Ugh! I knew you didn't have what it took. You jerk! What was I in here for? Comic relief? Yeah, apologize! Haha, oh, sorry. That's not the way to apologize. He's anger trucing now. Look out. Oh, but she's probably still a huge fan of the Gaviners. If we can please end this the bickering now. Whatever, I'm not leaving. I can't leave like this. I will come up with some clue solving this case if it kills me. Your testimony has already given us enough to go back to the defendant. Don't say that. Ah, haha. Aha, what? This bloodstain. The criminal tried to wipe it off, right? That seems to be what happened, yes? We might be able to find out what was really written here. For really? Can you do that? That's right. With this. It's called luminol. Maybe you know of it. It's a chemical that reacts to blood. Ah, yes. Have you done those tests yet? Ha! As if I'm gonna tell you. The bloodstains covered a section of the carpet. In order to perform the blood test, that section was removed and submitted. Perhaps we should request a hearing in court now. Do I get to do it? Great! Go for it, Apollo. Huh? I have to do the test? You just have to spray the luminol on it. Simple. A chemical that reacts to blood. I've heard of this somewhere. Yes, I believe analysis is called for. Have at it. Right. Ready? It's easy as pie. Just press space to spray on the area. Here, give it a try. The eyes of the entire court are focused on me. Apollo, your hands are shaking. Ugh. Yeah. Let's just do this. Wow, it really works. This must be the power of science. It says IPXX 314260. Well, you know what to do. We all know what to do. Look at it. Upside down. Hold on. I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna. Maybe I should just take a picture of it and then look at the picture upside down. I'm gonna go get my phone real quick so I can take a picture of it and look at it upside down. Science. Oh yes, haha, it has funny number in it. I still, not gonna lie, I still don't understand. I I still don't understand. Let's continue. Is that the killer's name? Maybe it is. If the killer was a robot. Haha, I have it. So what is it? I thought those letters, IPXX, looked familiar. This is the Interpol ID number. Oh god, we're getting Interpol back into this? Well, technically, if you, it wouldn't really be back since this game technically came out before investigations. Interpol? You mean the International Police Agency? Yes, are undercover. Most are undercover agents working to solve international crime. But why would he write that number? Why would Mr. Latress even know a number like that? Good show, fellow Detective Rocca. Your Honor, we can verify this number immediately. Darren, are you there? Come to the witness stand. Darren, you heard what we need. Go check this Interpol ID number. Sure thing. Give me 30 minutes. No, give me 27. 26 minutes later. I'm not sure what to think of all of this. The prosecution's case is airtight, so it seems. Yet, as if this number is really that of an Interpol's agent. Oh, wait, I know. What if Machi Tobias is really an undercover Interpol agent? That would be a possibility. A possibility, yes. And one that would mark him as the killer for certain. Why would the Trust know an Interpol ID number? That's what I want to know. Well, we have some time, though. I'll wait for their support. Let's work on unraveling another mystery, shall we? A curious mystery concerning Machi Tobias. What are you talking about? Felon detective, please accept my apologies. I received word that the defendant could, in fact, see just before the trial began. It seemed too much of a bother to tell you. You had me in just until that last bit. This does not raise a rather straightforward question. Well, sure. Why did Machi pretend he couldn't see? Obviously, it's a publicity blunt. It was an publicity blunt because that's because he's the blind pianist. But why did he become the blind pianist? Exactly. It makes little sense. What do you think, her forehead? Huh? Me? Machi's bias pretended he was blind. Do you know why? How could he know? Wait, Prosecutor Gavin knows why, doesn't he? He knew from the start of the trial. He's been leading us on the whole time. Something wrong? Do you think perhaps this is all some kind of game? No, that's the moment I heard this report. I knew why. I suppose people who have sold over 1 million records really are something else. What does that have to do with anything? There's a reason why Machi was pretending to be blind, but it wasn't for his own sake. Getting the picture now? It wasn't for himself? Well, Mr. Justice, can you present evidence that shows why the defendant... I haven't got a clue. I have no idea. Her forehead. I'm disappointed in you. Unless you're merely offending stupidity, yeah? Keep it up, wise guy. Recall the relationships a little more into... In particular, their arrangement over the years before visiting our country, and more in her piano. They would always walk together, she leading him by a hand. Even when they got on stage, she would lead him to the piano. She would walk all the way over there with him. That's right, because he was blind, or so we thought. She led him at all times. All times. Yet we now know that Machi could see perfectly well. Why keep up the charade? Well, wasn't it part of their performance? There is a simpler explanation, Her Judge. Machi did not need to be led by a hand at all, which means... Ah! You don't mean. I do. It was the other way around. The one who needed to be led by hand was Lamore. What's this? Lamore is blind? So you mean to say that Lamore is... She's blind as a bat, her judge. What? What? Order! 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 This is crazy, Prosecutor Gavin. Yeah, wasn't she supposed to be the landscape painter in sound or something? Well, since we have her here, why not ask Glenmore herself? I believe she's still in the witness waiting room. What does this mean for our case? Don't ask me. I have no idea what she couldn't see. I hadn't even imagined it until now. Bailiff, bring in Glenmore. Glenmore, it pains me to deeply call you before us again in this way, and yet I must. Please, do not be concerned on my behalf. Those eyes, she really can't see you. Really? It is true. How funny is it that a tiny lie born in the Volga countryside would one day grow to entangle the entire world? So you are? Yes, I mentioned before. I have no memory of the time before I came Lamore. No, too many of my memories begin in darkness. The world light has no meaning for Lamore. I see. You may recall me saying something towards the beginning of this trial for her head. What's that? I believe I said it was unfortunate that this crime had no direct witnesses. Ah. Now, Lamore, I must ask you to stand once more. Will you testify to the court about your eyes? Of course. It was never my intent to deceive any of you. May I begin, Your Honor? Yes, of course. No, I admit, I'm a little lost here. I think we're all a bit lost here, Your Honor. I have no memory of the light. I debuted in a world of darkness and sound. My producer came up with my PR line before he knew about this. So as silly as it may sound, I had to pretend I could see. Everyone on my staff knew, of course, but no others. But this is a murder trial. I apologize. It was a part of my contract, you see. I was to keep my blindness a secret no matter what. Music is everything for me. I never imagined something like this would. She told us the truth in the beginning, when she said she saw nothing. Very well. Does suspense have anything to add? I would like to cross-examine. But what is there left to ask? There was one thing in her testimony that bothered me. Perhaps it is best we let you get it out of your system. Someday you'll come to understand the importance of thinking for yourself. Very well. The defense may proceed. However, be aware this court will not tolerate any questions deemed too stressful to the witness. Okay. There was only one part that bothered me. Just let me ask about that and I'll be happy. Ooh, am I gonna get... I have no memory of the light. So you don't know why you don't know why you went blind. I do not. I may have been born this way, in fact. It is fruitless to attempt to pry into her past. And I might add, it's a delicate subject. I'm not sure we can reasonably expect Mr. Justice to do anything delicately. Hey! What do I ought to take a deep breath and calm down? I know, it's just all I have. It is enough, I think. Weren't you nervous at the stage in your condition? No, not at all, surprisingly. I felt natural singing in front of everyone. It's not something just anyone can do. She has talent, that much is quite clear. You might even say she is beloved by the gods of music. Even without lights, I live perfectly happy in my world of sound. If that is talent, as you say, then I think the gods responsible. What about your PR motive? My producer came up with my PR line before he knew about this. Perhaps their music reminded him of the Borean scenery. Haha, no, it was quite the opposite. The opposite? According to my producer, my music has a certain global equality. Global. Multicultural, if you will. It's hard to pin into one region. When people listen to it, they picture the country closest to their hearts. That's why my music has reached so many. What a lovely story! It sounds like this producer might have known what he was doing after all. My songs are nothing more than a white canvas. To me, the real landscape painters are the listeners. When I think of it that, I do not mind how I am represented to the world so much. Yet, one thing quickly led to another. So silly as it may sound, I pretended I could. Was that to protect your image as the landscape painter in sound? It does not matter so much to me, really. But the label is quite concerned about it, I think. Landscape painter who can't see. That's like a pianist who can't play, huh? Huh, I wonder if we know anyone of those. We know any pianists who can't play, Trucy. Your dad. I'm not sure you can compare your father to him. Say wavelengths. The world of commercial music is filled with these little white lies. Nothing is scarce when it comes to validity. When you say that you're staff, do you include Mr. Latrous? Of course, he was my manager, so he knew, and that's been bugging me. Something the matter, Mr. Justice. I believe I know what is bothering our young defense attorney. You are thinking when you discovered the body, yes? Is he right, Apollo? Yes, I was. He's alive. Mr. Latrous, can you hear me? So cold. Witness. Don't worry, you're going to be fine. Help is on the way. Can't see. Hang in there, Mr. Latrous. Tell me, who was the witness? Mr. Latrous told me to ask the witness, and he named you. Why would he do that? He knew that you were blind. I don't know. Tisk tisk. What did I just say? You need to learn to think for yourself. Meaning what? There's no mystery here if you recall everything he said. Think of his last words once more. The witness. Siren. We have heard them many times along with our little play acting by our defense. I remember them well as myself, but that's not the statement to what I refer. I meant what he said before that. Before came. Ah! That's right. He tried to tell you when he said can't see. He wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about the witness. I see. Too bad the defense did not. Well, for her head, try relaxing and looking at the facts first next time. Order. Recall Limmore's earlier testimony. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There were two shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But she couldn't have heard those gunshots. I thought we proved that. That's not the most important part here. The moment he was shot, Mr. Latrous witnessed her through that window. Why else would he have named her as the witness? Ah, but I really did hear them. Two gunshots, and the man's voice. Unfortunately, such things was impossible. The window was closed. We have already run a simulation, of course, but it was so clear. If I heard that voice again, I'd know in an instant. Your Honor! What is it, bailiff? Can't you see we're in session here? We have the results back from the investigation. The investigation? Ah, the Interpol number that Mr. Latrous left us. Well, let's hear it. We'll continue this cross-examination afterwards. Detective Ascent, your report, please. I asked Interpol about that number. I'm sure you'll find their answer intriguing. Quick work as always, Darren. Well, tell us about the number. Is this defendant the secret agent? IPXX 314206. The agent registered under this number. and he was an Interpol agent. What? Our undercover Interpol agent was Mr. Lachasse himself. He was apparently in the middle of an operation. So when he wrote those letters, he was trying to tell us his own identity, and a cautious killer tried to wipe him away. Mr. Lachasse is an undercover Interpol agent, so him being Lemore's manager was just a cover, most likely. There's one other important detail I found. Well, out with it. It concerns that 45 caliber revolver, the murder weapon. Apparently, it belonged to Raymond Tao. He had Interpol permit to carry firearms, and the registration number on that revolver matched. So the victim was killed by his own weapon, which makes sense. It's hard to imagine someone who wasn't an Interpol agent with such a large revolver. So the victim was an Interpol agent and undercover op. I wonder how that ties into everything. It's got ties in somehow, you think? Yeah, somehow. Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Susend. That's great help. Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out. Wait. Leamore, is something the matter? That voice just now. Darren? Mr. Darren, is it? It was him. I'm sure of it. It was him. You aren't saying! That voice I heard, talking to Mr. Lachasse, when I heard the gunshots fired. It was him. It was Mr. Darien. Is this some kind of joke? What? But I'm telling you, it's something about that Miss Q. No way. The courtroom fell into such chaotic state, and the trial had to be suspended temporarily. I've never seen that happen before. Of course, it's not every day you get an accusation like that one. Just ask Mr. Wright about turnabout goodbyes when he defended the chief prosecutor, Miles Edgeworth. Lamore, fingering Darien said, not only is he a guitarist, but he's a detective. Could it really have been this the voice Lamore heard? Things were changing fast, and frankly, I wasn't sure I could keep up with it. Hey, no wimping out now, Polo! To be continued. Dun dun dun! Yes. And we're gonna head back to the game menus because we gotta change the music. Tradition every time we change music. I guess we have to change to Lamore's. Yes, and now head to the. I honestly really do like this ending music. So, welcome to the end screen. So this is where we kind of just be like, all right, we're heading off now, and we should raid somebody. So I'll see you guys probably again on Thursday for more Apollo's Justice. So who do I have? I can read. I got so many raid targets. Alright. Alexa, pick a number between 1 and 5. Alright. We're raiding Sully. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be back on Thursday for more. I'll be back on I'll be back on Thursday for more Opposed Justice, and we guess I'll have fun. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say.